There was a man on my shift named Debrowski. 39 years on the same line. Showed up before anyone else. Left after everyone else. Never called in sick. Not once in 39 years, which I confirmed myself because I kept the attendance logs for 6 years and Carl's name never appeared on a single absence sheet. Not once. Carl retired in 1998 at a small party in the break room. Paper plates. A sheet cake from the shop right on Market Street. His wife didn't come. His 2 daughters didn't come. I remember standing there watching Carl eat his cake alone next to the time clock and thinking, that's strange. That's a strange thing that nobody came. I didn't ask him about it. I noted it, filed it somewhere, and then went back to work. That was the first case. I had no idea at the time it was a case. I had no idea I was already collecting evidence for something I wouldn't understand for another 11 years. The second case started in 2003. A woman named Donna Esterhazy, quality control, had been with the plant since 1979. Sharp, the most consistent inspector I ever worked alongside. She caught a batch defect in March of that year that would have cost the plant $340,000 in recalls. Caught it at 6:14 in the morning on a Tuesday. Pulled the whole run herself before first break. Documented everything before management even knew there was a problem. She was good. She cared about the work the way some people care about a person. Donna's husband left her in 2004. Took their youngest daughter with him to Cincinnati. I observed this the way I observed most things, through its effects. Donna's lunch breaks got shorter. She stopped bringing food from home. By 2005, she was the last one in the building most nights. Not because she had to be, because she didn't have anywhere else to be. I noted this too. I thought, that's a pattern. I thought, I should pay attention to that. I did not pay attention to it. Not the way I should have. And then, sometime around 2007, I can't say exactly when because it happened the way most things happen, not all at once but in pieces, I became the third case. I want to be honest about what I observed in myself because it's the only useful thing I can offer you here. I was not a bad husband. I want to be clear about that because I spent a long time being clear about it to myself, and I was wrong. I wasn't cruel. I wasn't absent the way a drunk is absent or the way a man with another woman is absent. I was present in the house. I ate dinner there most nights. I watched television there. I slept there. But what I observed, much later, was this. I was present in the house the same way a piece of furniture is present in a house. Irena could have moved me to a different room, and the room would have functioned the same. She told me this in 2006. Not in those words. In different words that I didn't understand at the time. She said, "You're here, Gerry, but you're not here." I told her I was tired. I had worked 11 days straight covering for a guy on medical leave. I told her she was being unfair. I believed that completely. I ran my thumb along the scar on my left palm. I do that when I'm waiting for something to make sense. And I told her she was being unfair to a man who worked every day of his life to keep this family running. She didn't argue. That was Irena. She didn't argue. She just stopped saying it. I want to stay with that for a moment because this is where the pattern I observed in Carl and Donna and eventually in myself actually lives. It doesn't live in the dramatic moments. It doesn't live in the fights. It lives in the moment when the other person stops saying the thing they were saying. Carl's wife stopped saying whatever she was saying. Sometime before 1998, she stopped. His daughter stopped. And by the time Carl was eating sheet cake next to a time clock at his retirement party, whatever had been said and then stopped being said had already settled into the foundation like water damage, invisible until the floor gives way. Donna's husband stopped trying to compete with the plant for her attention. I don't know exactly when. I only know that by 2004 he had made a different decision, and Donna stood in the quality control bay at 9 o'clock at night and caught defects that didn't need catching anymore and called it dedication. And I kept working. After Irena's stroke in 2009, after the funeral, after Mark flew in from Phoenix and then flew back to Phoenix 6 days later, I kept working. I was retired by then, but I picked up consulting work at another plant in Lordstown. I drove 40 minutes each way. I noted defects. I wrote reports. I was thorough and consistent, and my findings were accurate. There was nobody at home who needed the findings to be accurate. That took me approximately 14 months to understand. I am going to tell you what the evidence showed across all 3 cases, because this is the part that matters, and I am not interested in spending time on things that don't matter. Some of you are doing exactly what Carl did, what Donna did, what I did. Right now, today, you are sitting somewhere with a phone in your hand or a laptop open, and there is a person somewhere near you, or there was a person, before they stopped, who needed something from you that had nothing to do with your output, your productivity, your attendance record, or your usefulness. And you gave them usefulness. You gave them reliability. You gave them a man or a woman who never missed a shift. You gave them the wrong thing. The evidence I collected across 3 cases and a combined total of more than 100 years of working life suggests the following, and I will state it plainly because I don't see the point of softening it. The work will accept everything you give it. The work has no limit. You can give it your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your health, your presence, your best hours, your sharpest attention. The work will take all of it. The work will not tell you when you have given it too much. The work does not have that mechanism. The people in your life have that mechanism. They tell you. And then, when you don't adjust, they stop telling you. And then the mechanism shuts off. Not all at once. In pieces. Over years. And one day you run your thumb across an old scar, and you realize the house is very quiet. And it has been very quiet for a long time, and you genuinely cannot identify the exact moment it became this quiet. Mark called me on my birthday last month. He called at 7 in the evening, which is 5 in Phoenix. We talked for 18 minutes. He asked about my knee. I asked about his kids. He mentioned a project at work. I told him I was doing fine. I have observed, in myself, the same pattern that ended Carl's retirement party at a break room table and put Donna Esterhazy in an empty plant at 9 o'clock at night. What all 3 cases had in common was not a shortage of effort. It was a sustained, consistent, decades-long misidentification of what the effort was for. We worked to provide for the people we loved. The people we loved needed us to stop working long enough to be with them. We never reconciled these 2 things. I don't know if Carl ever figured this out. He moved to Florida sometime around 2001, and I lost track of him. I don't know what Donna Esterhazy's life looks like now. What I observed was only what I could observe from the floor of that plant, and my view was limited. What I know is what I can confirm from my own case. You think you have time to make this correction. You may have time. But I want to be precise about something, because imprecision on this particular point has cost people I observed more than I can calculate. The window for this correction is not when you retire. The window is not when the kids grow up. The window is not when things settle down. The window is right now, while there is still someone saying the thing they are saying. While they are still saying it, before they stop. I ran my thumb across that scar on my left palm 1,000 times in 41 years, and never once thought to ask what I kept returning to it for. I think now I was checking something. The way you check a weld or a stamped part, looking for the failure point, seeing if it held. I never found what I was looking for in that scar. The failure was somewhere else entirely. It was in the same room with me every night for 31 years, and I documented everything except that. I'm 84. I worked every day of my life. I was reliable and consistent, and I showed up, and I was accurate. And I ate cake alone, not at a break room, in my kitchen, but the difference is smaller than I'd like it to be. I'm not telling you to work less. I'm telling you to know what the work is for, because the work will not tell you. The work has never told anyone. The only thing I will say to you from this side of it is this: the people in your life right now who are still saying the thing, who are still trying to tell you something, they will not say it forever. They will stop. And the silence after they stop is a very particular kind of silence. You will recognize it when you hear it. By then, it will already be the answer.